Whispering Asylum, a tale of terror from Russia's abandoned sanatorium. In the icy wilderness of Russia, deep within the dense forests of the Ural Mountains, lies the crumbling remains of the Kolyatov Psychiatric Institute, a once renowned mental asylum now lost to time and darkness. The few who dare approach its eerie ruins speak of flickering shadows, distant wails, and a bone-chilling presence that lingers in the stale air. The history of Kolyatov Asylum. Built in 1908, the Kolyatov Institute was meant to house the mentally ill, but over the decades, it gained a far more sinister reputation. By the late 1950s, it had become a nightmarish labyrinth of inhumane experiments, occult rituals, and unexplained disappearances. Patients and staff alike reported strange occurrences, whispers in empty corridors, doors locking by themselves, and the sudden, inexplicable deaths of those who dared question the facility's dark practices. Officially, the asylum was shut down in 1983 due to structural instability, but those who worked there knew the real reason. Something malevolent had awoken within its walls, something that refused to be contained. The haunting begins. In 2019, a group of urban explorers led by a YouTube paranormal investigator named Anton Volkov set out to document the asylum's secrets. They carried thermal cameras, EMF detectors, and digital recorders, hoping to capture evidence of the paranormal. None of them were prepared for what they found. The moment they crossed the threshold, an unnatural silence fell over them. Dust swirled in the dim light of their flashlights, and the cold air felt thick with unseen presences. "We shouldn't be here," muttered Oleg, the team's skeptic, but the others pressed on. The asylum seemed to breathe around them, the walls whispering their names in hushed, unintelligible voices. In the main corridor, Anton's camera caught the first anomaly, a shadow darting past the frame. But the real horror lay deeper inside. Room 27, the screaming chamber. Room 27 was infamous. It once housed Sergei Mikhailov, a patient who gouged out his own eyes, claiming he had seen the other ones watching him from beyond reality. His room was lined with scratch marks and dark stains that had long since dried. When the group entered, Anton set down a spirit box, hoping to make contact. As soon as he turned it on, the static gave way to a garbled voice. _leave, now! _. Then, without warning, the heavy steel door slammed shut behind them. A piercing scream erupted from the walls, rattling their bones. The temperature plummeted, and an oppressive force pushed against their chests. Oleg collapsed, gasping for air. Through the flickering light of their flashlights, they saw it, an eyeless figure standing in the corner, grinning. It twitched violently, its limbs bending at unnatural angles as it whispered in a guttural, inhuman language. Panicked, Anton and his team struggled to pry the door open, their breaths coming out in frantic gasps. Finally, as if released by an unseen force, the door swung open, sending them tumbling into the hallway. They didn't look back. The basement, the true horror. Shaken but determined, the group pressed forward. They discovered a hidden stairwell leading to the underground level, a section never mentioned in the asylum's official blueprints. The air grew heavier as they descended, their footsteps echoing through the narrow passage. The basement was unlike anything they had seen. Rusted medical instruments lay scattered, dried blood coated the walls, and a giant iron door stood at the far end, its surface covered in ancient runes. Oleg hesitated. This isn't just a hospital. This place, it was a prison for something. Anton ignored the warning and pushed the door open. A foul stench rushed out, carrying with it a deep, guttural growl. Inside the chamber, the floor was covered in bones, some human, others unrecognizable. Shackles hung from the walls, their chains rattling despite the stillness. Then, they heard it, a slow, deliberate series of footsteps echoing from the darkness. The light from Anton's flashlight flickered wildly, revealing a massive shadow moving towards them, its form shifting and writhing like a mass of living darkness. "Run!" Anton shouted, but it was too late. Oleg let out a strangled cry as an unseen force dragged him into the abyss. His screams turned to gurgles, then silence. The rest of the team sprinted back up the stairs, the oppressive darkness chasing them, whispering their names with each step. Escape and aftermath. By the time they reached the asylum's exit, only 3 of the 5 explorers remained. Gasping for breath, they collapsed outside, the morning sun barely peeking over the treetops. Anton turned back one last time. For a brief moment, he saw Oleg standing in the doorway, his mouth twisted into a grotesque grin, his eyes hollow voids of darkness. They never found his body. Anton's footage was uploaded to YouTube but mysteriously disappeared days later. The remaining team members suffered bizarre accidents, unexplained illnesses, and in one case, complete insanity. Anton himself vanished a year later after telling his friends that he could still hear the whispers in his dreams. As for Kolyatov Asylum, the locals say it still stands, waiting, watching. And if you listen closely on a quiet night, you can hear the whispers calling you inside. Will you answer?